Build a multi-million-dollar enterprise for the kingdom of God. This is business architecture for kingdom ambassadors. Kingdom multimillionaires and business communications in the innovation economy. Communication is the essential element of business success because it creates your working environment. It also makes your vision and intentions clear to all involved. Your values can only be known and learned through adequate communications. These values create your working environment. You, the founder, have complete control over the development and maintenance of your work environment through clear and complete communications. Additionally, you can build your company brand only through deep communications to your target audience. There is no way you can build efficient and effective teams without clear and concise communication. Conflict in your business will be the norm without excellent communications from you and among all business affiliates. The innovation economy requires consistent collaboration, innovation, and organization flexibility. None of this can happen without efficient and effective communications. However, communication is a complex skill, and the way you can master it is to adequately understand some of the complexity involved. Philosophers have long recognized that language is inherently vague, being an imperfect representation of thoughts and ideas. We only scratch the surface by saying that words themselves have different meanings, and that the order in which we put them together into sentences, and the connections we form between them, add more layers of meaning, which are often ambiguous themselves. This is because each person speaks against the background of his or her personal history, experiences, impressions, beliefs, values, and more. When a person speaks, it is he or she who is speaking, not some mechanical word generator. There is a person behind it, one who has lived and loved, laughed and cried, learned and forgotten. Mark D. White, Ph.D. The speaker's experience is not the same as the listener's experience. This means we hear according to our unique experiences. We interpret what we hear according to our general and preconceived understanding. On top of this, we often begin designing solutions or answers before we hear the whole story. It's a miracle we can talk to each other at all. Therefore, hearing is all we do. There is very little listening and understanding. Give me an understanding heart, King Solomon. This is where we need to work harder. We must work to listen and understand better in conversations and not just hear what the communicator is saying. Listening. The difference between hearing and listening is common to most of us, but to recap, hearing is a physical process where we capture sound waves. Listening involves not only the capturing of sound waves, it also involves the mind or our thought processes as mentioned before. Many things influence our thought processes. For example, basic levels of interest, relevant expertise in the discipline involved, expectations, or current personal experiences, family issues, for example, as well as the totality of our experiences. That's not all. The diversity in our population opens up a whole array of additional factors that influence how we speak and listen. Thankfully, there are several ways we can improve our listening skills. First, we can make a conscious effort to hear not only the words the other person is saying, but, more importantly, make it a point to hear the complete message being communicated. There are two general types of listening. Discriminative listening occurs when we recognize the difference between various sounds, such as the difference between the sound of a bell and the human voice. As we grow older and develop and gain more life experience, our ability to distinguish between different sounds is improved. Not only can we recognize different voices, but we also develop the ability to recognize subtle differences in the way that sounds are made. This is fundamental to ultimately understanding what these sounds mean. Differences include many subtleties, recognizing foreign languages, distinguishing between regional accents and clues to the emotions and feelings of the speaker. Recognizing these subtleties helps us interpret meanings the speaker is trying to share. Comprehensive listening involves attempts to understand what the speaker is saying. Active listening helps with both processes. Active listening means, as its name suggests, actively listening. That is, fully concentrating on what is being said rather than just passively hearing the message of the speaker. Active listening involves listening with all senses. In order to do this, you must pay attention to the other person very carefully. You cannot allow yourself to become distracted by whatever else may be going on around you, or by forming counter-arguments while the other person is still speaking. Nor can you allow yourself to get bored and lose focus on what the other person is saying. At this point, I'll also share a technique I call observational speaking. It is related to active listening because you are actively focusing on the recipients of your communications as you are speaking. Observational speaking is a style of communicating where you are completely aware of your receivers. That is, you're observing the behaviors and mannerisms of the receivers as you share thoughts or information. Then you adjust your message on the spot as needed. This takes practice but can be mastered with patient application. If you're sharing important information, you'll take time to notice the facial expressions and reactions of the audience. This will help you perceive the level of understanding your listeners are achieving. Understanding. The most important part of communicating is understanding. You can easily hear and listen without understanding. These are some of the experiential differences that can distort efficient and effective communications. Of course, there are other significant differences. What can a founder or business developer do? Basically, managers need to take time to know their employees, customers, and affiliates, then use a variety of media, face-to-face, email, text, documents, etc., to communicate important information. If your business values and talents have been defined before you engage with customers, begin the hiring process, or before you engage with any business affiliates, you will be able to identify barriers, values, expectations, or perspectives to communication ahead of time. You will then be able to prepare the communication devices and processes required. Study the links I've shared for more information. See them in the description. This is Business Architecture for Kingdom Ambassadors. Influence the world for the kingdom of God with your kingdom-based enterprise. Gain superior skills and knowledge with online training. GeniusCoreTraining.com.